I wanted to unpack the 7 things that I learned from Amazon, from Jeff Bezos, through this specific book that he wrote. And it was really uniquely designed. And I think it's going to not only help you question your own belief systems, as it did for me, but it's also going to call you higher in how you're showing up as a leader, as an entrepreneur, someone within, Glenn's 5 realms of F's: the faith, fitness, finance, family, fun. Did I miss one? Faith, fitness, finance, family, fun. No, I got them all. Yay. I rattled those off quickly. Glenn, you have indoctrinated me. And so I'm excited to go through this list. I want to make sure that you're taking notes that are an extension from what Marvin was sharing as far as the smartest goals and the pact concept, because that truly is how these things come to fruition. So I'm going to let you open your mic and answer this, because it's a founding belief. If you're not learning, you're
Learning.
If you're not learning, you're
Winning.
Ooh.
Growing.
If you're not learning, you're
Dying.
There it is. There it is. If you're not learning, that means you're not growing, and therefore you are dying. Anything in the natural realm, and this is visual both in plants in a garden as much as it is in our interior self, our mental health, our emotional health, all of those things, even our physicality, we're growing and learning consistently. We're taking in information, but if you've found a place of stagnation or complacency in your dream associated to your goals, your dream, your goals are dying. So let's get going down this 7 list of the invent and wander, and all inspired by Jeff Bezos himself. So number 1 thing that I learned was 6 pages is enough. And so instead of doing this huge slide deck, instead of having these big long meetings of a meeting about a meeting about a meeting, right? This often happens in our corporate setting or our teams. He decided at the end of every single year, he was going to write a 6-page letter to all of the stockholders, the community, the investors, everyone that was a part of the team. And that in 6 pages, he should be able to nail down exactly what Amazon has done in the last 12 months and exactly where they're going from a goal setting perspective in the next 12 months based on that new information that he's received. So I think often, and Glenn kind of alluded to this earlier, as well as Bill, that we can be overzealous in the information that we provide to people, and that fire hose is not actually helping. It might stroke your own ego, but in many even group settings that I've experienced, when I go in with the idea, I'm going to share about this one topic, and then I make these lists of 7 things like I'm about to do right now. Sometimes the lists are too grandiose for people to comprehend and apply. And so then what happens? They're left in a place of, wow, that was a lot. That was awesome. That was great. But I have no idea what to do with it. We forget our own genius. We forget, based on the information and the time that we've invested, such as an entire year between each of these letters, that this is what the book was premised off of. You forget how much energy you've put in to coming to these conclusions, to this revelation. And therefore, it's easy for us to give everything we got and realize that the person on the receiving end wasn't there for the last 12 months. So the fact that we can turn all of this information into 6 pages gives me peace. It gives me hope. More work doesn't mean more efficient. More work doesn't mean it's better. More work doesn't mean it's more valuable. So maybe you can take everything that you have that's so long and turn it into something that is only 6 pages long. And it doesn't need to have all of the stock information or the investor graphics or any of those pieces. I just recently had launched an ambassador program alongside Fit and Faith Media, which you can see in the link here. And this ambassador program, I brought together a bunch of people. I gave them the basics of the information that they needed to know in a slide deck. Sorry, Bezos. But the slide deck was only 7 pages long. So I almost meet his 6-page criteria. And each of those pages in the deck had less than 10 words on it. And so that should land enough based on the girth of information that you come to the table with. So 6 pages is enough. That's number 1. Number 2 from Invent and Wander is customers always first. We hear this a lot, customer service matters. The customer's opinion is most important. But I think the way that Bezos positioned himself and the customers in this belief system, every single time someone new was brought into the community, this was a part of the way that they programmed and consistently show up. And I think that's the difference between the title of this room is, do you believe that really? Do you actually believe that if you're not learning, you're dying? Because a lot of times people will position themselves based in a goal and they're not learning, and therefore the goal they're trying to attain is unattainable because they're not stepping in to the next zone of genius, the higher sense of self to make that goal actually come to fruition. And so if customers are always first, and in our company, we call our clients our partners, and I have to sometimes reiterate that for the people in the community who haven't heard that before, but we don't believe in a hierarchical system. Just because you hired me as your coach doesn't make me above you. It's the same concept of Napoleon Hill's mastermind. We are all sitting at the table together. It's exactly why Breakfast with Champions was created. We want everyone to have a seat at the table. And the last time I checked, unless you have one of those fancy pumping chairs at your desk, nobody's higher than anyone when we're sitting, even based in stature and height.